Welcome to the Royal Road School of Carmelite Prayer. Saint Teresa of Avila tells us that the divine path of Carmelite or silent prayer is the royal road to heaven, and that those who travel it will be given a great treasure. A link to the Praying with Teresa of Avila website has been provided below to enable you to easily find today's presentation, Contemplation, and the Prayer of Quiet, taken from The Way of Perfection by Saint Teresa of Avila. The website provides all the simple tools you need to develop your own practice of Carmelite or silent prayer, along with complete course materials to start your own school of prayer in your parish or in your community. Contemplation and the Prayer of Quiet from The Way of Perfection by Saint Teresa of Avila. It is very possible that while you are reciting the Our Father, the Lord may raise you to perfect contemplation. His majesty shows that he listens. It is his grandeur that speaks to the soul, suspending one's intellect, binding one's imagination. The soul understands. This divine master is teaching it by suspending its faculties. The soul is being enkindled in love. The will is enkindled without understanding how. This good cannot be merited or gained. It is a gift from the Lord. What I have described is perfect contemplation. The difference that lies between perfect contemplation and mental prayer. In mental prayer, being aware and knowing that we are speaking, with whom we are speaking, and who we ourselves are, who dare to speak with so great a Lord. But in contemplation, we can do nothing. His Majesty is the one who does everything, for it is his work and above our nature. Strive after what is contained in this present book, and leave the rest to God, for it is he who must bestow supernatural prayer. And he will grant it to you if you do not stop short on the road, but try hard until you reach the end. He doesn't tell us to ask for impossible things. There are times when the Lord calms the faculties and quiets the soul. A clear foretaste of what will be given to those he brings to his kingdom, and to those to whom he gives here below the kingdom we ask for. He gives pledges. They may have great hope of going to enjoy perpetually what here on earth is given only in sips. The beginning of pure contemplation, the prayer of quiet. But since I'm dealing with vocal prayer, it may seem that vocal prayer doesn't go with contemplation, but I know that it does. There are many persons who, while praying vocally, are raised by God to sublime contemplation. Those of you who are the enemies of contemplatives should not think that you are free from being a contemplative if you recite your vocal prayers as they should be recited with a pure conscience. I want to explain this prayer of quiet. The Lord begins to show that he hears our petition to give us his kingdom here below, so that we may truly praise and hallow his name. This prayer is supernatural. We cannot procure it with our own efforts. The Lord puts the soul at peace by his presence. All the faculties are calmed. Not much more would be required for it to become one with him in union. The soul sees that it is in the kingdom, at least near the king, who will give the kingdom to the soul. The state resembles an interior and exterior swoon. A person feels the greatest delight in his body and a great satisfaction in his soul. The faculties are still. 2 of them are free. The will is the one that is captive here. If there is some sorrow, it comes from a realization that the will must return to the state of being free. Persons in this prayer don't want the body to move, to lose that peace. Don't dare stir. They are within the palace, near the king. He is giving them his kingdom. In sum, while this prayer lasts, they are so absorbed with satisfaction and delight. Sometimes in this prayer of quiet, the Lord grants another favor. When this quiet is great and lasts for a long while, the will wouldn't be able to remain so long in that peace if it weren't bound to something. They are not holy in what they are doing. The best part is lacking, that is the will, is united with its God and leaves the other faculties free to be occupied in what is for his service in worldly matters. These faculties are dull in a stupor. This is a great favor. The active and contemplative lives are joined. The will is occupied in its work and contemplation. The other 2 faculties serve in the work of Martha. Thus Martha and Mary walk together. It would be good to give some counsels for those whom the Lord has brought here, to think they'll be able to hold on to that satisfaction and don't even dare take a breath. This prayer is no longer our work. It's something very supernatural. Only receive it with gratitude, as most unworthy of it. You will be unable to manage the other 2 faculties. The soul will be in the greatest quiet, and the intellect will be so distracted. Sometimes I want to die in that I cannot cure this wandering of the intellect. The will shouldn't pay any more attention to the intellect than it would to a madman. This prayer of quiet is different from that prayer in which the entire soul is united with God. For then the soul doesn't even go through the process of swallowing this divine food. The Lord places the milk within it. In the prayer of quiet, it seems that he wants the soul to work a little. The intellect torments the will. It doesn't cause this torment when there is union of all 3 of the faculties, for he suspends them. With the joy he gives them, he keeps them all occupied. The delight is in the interior of the will. In this prayer, the will is the ruler and the powerful one. To the soul placed in this prayer, it seems the Eternal Father has already granted here below its petition for the kingdom. When this favor is granted by God, we shall forget the things of the world. A soul to whom God gives such pledges has a sign that he wants to give it a great deal. If the Lord sees that after he places the kingdom of heaven in the soul's house, this soul turns to earthly things, he will fail to show it secrets in the kingdom, seldom grant it this favor. When individuals do not respond by service that is in conformity with so great a favor, they take back their wills. The Lord goes in search of those who do love him to give more to them. But there are persons who make themselves deaf when the Lord gives the kingdom and places them in this prayer of quiet. They do not receive it. They distract themselves from the prayer of quiet. Do not do this. Be on your guard when the Lord grants you this favor. Consider that you are losing a great treasure. You do much more by saying one word of the Our Father than rushing through the entire prayer many times. You are very close to the one you petition. Herein lies the true praise and hallowing of his name. He has granted us so great a favor as to make us his brothers. Let's see what he desires us to give his Father, and how he offers this gift for us, and what he asks of us. It is right that we serve him in return for such great favors. I want to remind you what his will is. Do you want to know how he answers those who say these words to him sincerely? Ask his glorious Son, who said them with such determination and complete willingness. Sorrows, injuries, and persecutions he suffered, death on a cross. But that we understand what his will is, for these are his gifts to the world. He gives according to the love he bears us. The measure for being able to bear a large or small cross is love. Strive to suffer what his majesty desires you to suffer. Let's give him the jewel. The truth is that he rewards us beforehand, so that we might give the jewel to him. Those in the world will be doing enough if they truly have the determination to do his will. Everything I advise you is directed toward the complete gift of ourselves to the Creator, the surrender of our wills to him, and the detachment from creatures. We are preparing ourselves that we may quickly reach the end of our journey and drink the living water from the fount. Unless we give our wills, we will never be allowed to do so. Drinking from the fount is perfect contemplation. In this contemplation, we don't do anything ourselves, nor is there anything else necessary than to say, "Your will, Lord, be done in me." If you want it to be done with trials, strengthen me and let them come. If the persecutions, illnesses, dishonors, and lack of life's necessity, here I am. I will not run away, my Father, nor is it right that I turn my back on you. Since your Son gave you this will of mine in the name of all, there is no reason for any lack on my part, but grant me the favor of your kingdom, that I may do your will, since he asked for this kingdom for me, and use me as you would your own possession in conformity with your will. Strength lies in this gift. When accompanied by the necessary determination, it draws the Almighty so that he becomes one with our loneliness, transforms us into himself, and effects a union of the Creator with the creature. The more our deeds show that these are not merely polite words, all the more the Lord brings us to himself and raises the soul from itself and all earthly things so as to make it capable of receiving great favors, for he never finishes repaying the service in the present life. Not content with having made this soul one with himself, he begins to find his delight in it, to reveal his secrets, and rejoice that it knows what it has gained. He makes it lose these exterior senses so that nothing will occupy it. This is rapture, and he begins to commune with the soul in so intimate a friendship that he not only gives it back its own will, but gives it his. For in so great a friendship, the Lord takes joy in putting the soul in command. He does what it asks, since it does his will. The soul often grows weary seeing itself subject to so many difficulties, impediments, and fetters from dwelling in the prison of the body. It would want to repay something of what it owes. Only humility can do something, a clear perception, the truth, about what a trifle we are and how very great God is. I give you one counsel. Don't think that through your own strength or efforts you can arrive, for reaching this stage is beyond our power. With simplicity and humility, which will achieve everything, say, Fiat voluntas tua, thy will be done.